Welcome to another episode of The Game. I am your host, Tyrus McKnight, and we will be joined tonight by Brother Demitri. He was on the last episode, and we have a newcomer to the game, Nidia. I want you guys to listen. We're going to be talking about leading properly in a relationship. Brother Demitri, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Tyrus, how you doing, King?
Can't complain too
Hello.
much. Hello, Nidia. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Can't complain too much. Hope everybody is well through this pandemic, and hope everything is going well. Um, so let's get into it. So the conversation for tonight is going to be leading properly in a relationship.
Right.
Now, when we talk about leadership, the definition of leadership is to be a route or a means of access to a particular place or in a particular direction. Now, I, for one, think that, a man should be the leader in a relationship, and he just assumes his position, and then everything else falls into place. So first, I want to hear from Nydia. In your opinion, what is the definition of an effective leader?
An effective leader for me is one that communicates well, the one that understands and is reciprocated to receive like redirection, someone who is positive, someone who's trustworthy, and someone who has your best interest at heart.
Dimitri?
Well, first of all, hello, Nidia. How you doing tonight?
Hi, Dimitri. How are you?
Pretty good. It's kind of hard to follow that. I kind of follow those sentiments also. I think a leader should be a positive person, willing to accept feedback if in the event that they do give, they do take initiative. Their direction is not the best direction. But I think an important quality of a leader is basically recognizing your strengths and your weaknesses as an individual, and
Mm-hmm.
also with the other person that you're making these decisions with. So if there's something that you kind of have more knowledge in, you can kind of put your best foot forward. And if it's something that you're not really knowledgeable about, I think knowing when to kind of step back and maybe ask questions instead of leading both people down the wrong path.
Hmm.
Right. And then also,
So,
I also believe that, a leader is an individual who has integrity.
Mm,
You have to have
hmm.
integrity.
right.
I think that's a quality that honestly most people don't have, unfortunately. So when you're in a position of leading, I think that's one thing that sticks out the most is you have to have integrity.
Mm.
Okay, so for the most part, we know what integrity means, but like when we talk about relationship terms, what do you mean by that?
More so of just understanding the worth of a person, having morals and principles. Just being honest, honesty, and to be honest, you have integrity, having a strong foundation, being able to not only stand on your own but also stand within like a partner or like whatever, a team basically.
I agree.
Hmm.
I agree. Because me
So
personally, I wouldn't want a person to
I
lead.
think, yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Go, no. Go ahead. You were
Okay.
saying something. You were saying something
Oh, okay.
important.
Okay. Now I
Hmm.
was just saying, I'll keep it brief. I was just saying that, if there was someone leading me, I would look for particular qualities in that person, similar to what Nydia said. Um, somebody who takes the things that you say into consideration and the way that you feel or the way that you view things. And, I think you would want a person with those type of characteristics to lead you as opposed to someone kind of like this president, because I'm not going to say our president, but like this president is leading this United States right now.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I have a question because most of the time when I talk to women about relationships and things like that, and this is a question directed at Nydia once again. And most of them say that black men are are black men leading properly, and because they say that's why they're not submitting to a black man's leadership. Are black men leading properly in your opinion?
Wait, repeat it. You said black men. What? You kind of cut off. I'm sorry.
When, oh, okay, so I said for the most part when I talk to women, they and I talk about submitting to a man, they seem to be resistant to that. And for the most part, they say it's because black men aren't leading properly. So, in your opinion, are black men leading properly?
You know what? So I'm gonna be honest and also careful how I respond to this question. So,
Hmm.
so I think
Uh-oh.
I personally, and for me, in my in my past relationship, I'm not in one right now, so I can only talk about my experience. In my
Oh,
experience, I felt like that individual did not lead properly. I felt like I know for a fact in that particular relationship, I wore the dress and the pants. It wasn't until somewhere in the middle of
hmm,
all of that that he led. I'm not going to say properly. I'm going to say that maybe it was something that he felt like he was supposed to do rather than actually thinking that this is something that he should be doing. And I think, and just going across a relationship, like some of my friends who are in relationships, or the case may be, I sense that sometimes that and I don't want to say just black men. I want to say men, period. Because I don't like to just point out a different ethnicity group or whatever the case may be. So I feel like sometimes with men, I feel like they think that because they are men, these are things they're supposed to be doing, rather than having things come naturally and organically. If that makes sense. Um,
hmm,
I think that a lot of it probably stem and I'm a social worker, so sometimes I take things a little bit deeper than what it is. And so I feel like a lot of that have to do with how they were raised and what they saw, and what they didn't see. So you know, I, I mean, that's personally, how I feel. I feel that it's not that it's a black man thing. I feel like sometimes it's really a man thing, just how sometimes it's not a black woman thing. It's a woman thing.
okay.
But as far as like
All right.
being
So,
submissive, me personally, I believe in making sure my man, my partner is taken care of. Some women don't believe that. Once again, I feel like it all stems from your background, how you were raised, or what you saw. For example, like with my mom make sure my dad he eats every night, his plate is on the table, so because I saw that, I do that. I make sure that when I'm with someone and we're going out to eat or we're at a function, like or I'm cooking for him, my man don't eat off a paper plate, he eat off an actual plate. That's just me though, so women aren't like that. And
hmm,
you have also, I believe that you have to know firsthand if that person that you with should be the one you being submissive to, because some men don't deserve a woman to be submissive to them. So I feel like if a
hmm,
woman is questioning that, oh, I don't know, he don't deserve that, then maybe that's not the person he's supposed to be with.
okay. I'm gonna come back to something you said, but ladies, take notes on that cooking thing. Demetri, take notes on that plate. Take notes what she just said.
That's just me
Please take
though.
notes.
Yeah.
The huh? Not just you. You represent some women up in here now. Now you bigger than you think you are right now. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Dimitri, what about you? Do you think men are leading properly across the board?
Um, as a black male, I'm gonna be honest and say no. As a whole,
Hmm,
um, because I look at like me being in education, there, I have the opportunity to kind of look in and see people's family units. So a lot of the households don't have males there, and we could just start off by saying, they're guys who, they can create these children, and not just the ones that create them, but they're not with the mother, whatnot. The ones that create these children, but don't
hmm,
actually spend the time with them, and to help them to grow to be successful and knowledgeable people. I think that's one area. Another area too, if we're to be if a black male is to be looked upon for leadership, then he should exhibit qualities of a person worthy of being followed. So, no disrespect to anybody who, you like you smoke or you do your thing, whatever it is you do in your spare time, that's you. I have no quarrel with that. But I kind of look at this the female rapper that passed recently. She had a drug overdose. I can't think of her name right now. She's a relatively young woman. I think she might have been in her early 20s, whatnot. But she passed from
China.
right,
I'm
right.
sorry, China.
That's her. Thank you. So she just passed from an overdose. But you're surrounded by people, that are into that same type of lifestyle, and nobody really. I don't feel like people reached out and tried to like stop that or curb that. Since they saw her potential. That's just a small example, but I just think overall, if a person is a black male is supposed to be an example of leadership or an example of leadership, then I think there's certain qualities that they should exhibit, and I don't think that they're exhibiting them. The younger generation, like under me, I've seen a lot of them where they, how to put it, there's a lot of talk, but not a lot of action. So it's almost as if they're selling a certain image to someone, but they're not capable of upholding the image that they put out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I don't think they're leading properly, because I think if you're a strong person, people look at a strong person and they pick up some of those characteristics. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna stop. I think there's a confusion between what's considered to be a strong male and what's considered to be an aggressive male. So you have because if you look at like the different rappers, right? Like the more popular rappers are the ones that are the more aggressive people. NBA YoungBoy, like he's all in, the rap media. Like people follow him, and I look at the comments and things that they post on his page and stuff. Like a lot of people kind of respect him, but it's because he's an aggressive person. Like his knowledge base is not there. Like he hasn't said anything profound to make a person be like, damn, I respect that. So it's more who can be more aggressive, like who sells their physical image better. That's kind of what I see now.
So I'm gonna get back to Lydia, but I want to direct this next question to you because she said something very interesting. So she said that some men aren't worthy of being submissive to. So, in your opinion, Dimitri, as a man, how do you decide? Because I think on our previous show we said that a lot of options, but not a lot of dating options.
Yeah.
So, how do you decide what woman is worthy of being invested in or worthy of your leadership?
I think it kind of goes back to what we spoke about the last time. Just like there's certain things a man is expected to bring to the table. Me as a person, there's certain things I would expect of a person that's a potential partner for me also. This is not like the 30s where you expect the woman to just be in the kitchen and these different things. It's kind of an unfair thing to lay at a woman's feet. She has more jobs than just that, and rearing children. So I think for me it's kind of like, or are you making me a better person? Because I'm guilty of being an asshole, and I'm also, I should also be put in my place if I'm doing a little bit too much also, but it takes a certain type of person, to be able to do that. Now I'm not a rude person, but I get on one every now and then just like anybody else. And, I should be checked about it if I'm doing a little bit too much. And, but also I look at it as, are you and I growing together? Are we making each other better? Do we complement each other? If you're going through something tough, whether financially, professionally, am I building you up? you know, or if there's something that you're thinking about doing business wise or planning wise, do I push you to be better at that? You know, do you do that for me? So I think that would be a person to me that would be worthy of, I guess, uh, my leadership. But at the same time, I need to be bringing that same type of support to the table for this woman to look at me and be like, you know what, I trust him with my safety and my well being to, you know, to follow some of the things that he says.
Okay. Nidia,
Mm-hmm.
when do you decide that a man is worth your submission? How do you go about doing that?
For me, I would know. I think most women would know that firsthand. It's sometimes we just know, and I know that that's not enough information, but with a woman intuition, we just know. That's how we feel things. We just know, and so later on down the line, I mean, we could be wrong, but we just know when that person is meant to have what we giving them.
Hmm. So, so you just look at a person and oh, that
It's
person's
it's
worthy of my leadership.
well, it's not more of a look. So let me track back. So it's not a
Okay.
look. It's a feeling. Is
Feel
it,
it.
women are sometimes we base ourselves off of feeling and emotion,
Mm-hmm.
and how we feel, and so and most times, like I said before, this happened organically when you just do, what you feel. You go by, your feeling.
Okay.
Okay. So, so, okay. So describe your ideal mate socially, physically, and financially. I want both you guys to do that.
Oh, wow.
Wait, could you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I said describe your ideal mate socially, physically, and financially.
I'm
That's deep.
Are these because I want to ask this because I think these are questions that we don't ask ourselves before we start dating
Okay.
people. Is this person is this person ideal of what I really want? You know. So Demitri, I'm gonna
Oh
start with
no,
you.
I'm gonna let the lady have this one. That's who it was directed to, if I remember correctly. That's dangerous, man.
Video.
and I'm sitting here just flabbergasted because I'm like, as a woman, as much like girlfriends, we talk about this all the time. We want him to have this. We want him to have this. Our man, our husbands, X, Y, and Z. And so now, when a man is asking us questions, it's kind of like, oh Lord, I don't know what to say.
hmm hmm
So,
So, yeah, say what you be saying with your girlfriends. Go ahead.
right. So right now, I'm like,
Go ahead.
dang, like he really asking me this question right now.
Mhm.
Um. Okay. So socially, wow. Socially, I gotta be careful with this one.
Don't be.
Because for myself, in the past, I've been told that I'm too friendly, and sometimes being friendly could come as being flirtatious, and that's not what I'm trying to do.
hmm
So, when I mean friendly, I mean someone who is friendly as in like presentable, social. I'm talking about social terms. Someone who's presentable, someone who's like to just have a good time. I'm one person that I like to travel. I like to hang out. I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert at the same time. So I like to hang out. I like to go to the bar. And talk and there are times where I like to just, be home. So someone who can adapt to different environments, because I know I'm one person that I can adapt to different environments.
hmm
I'm a very friendly person. I'm a social butterfly, so I can talk to pretty much any and everybody. And even if my ideal person is not like that, at least, pretty much adapt and be okay. Like, okay, how you doing? Whatever, whatever case may be. Um, I like to dance and, in a car, make videos and stuff. So, like, socially, I'll be a person that, I would want him to have that same, thing going on or whatever. I like festivals. I'm kind of sad because we don't have First Quarter Fest going on right now in Jazz Fest. So I like to do stuff like that. That's me. you know, hopefully, I will hope that the person I'm destined to be with will enjoy things like that.
Hmm.
As far as like the physical, I prefer someone who, is, I like a manly man. So whatever a man, whether he's petite or he is, bigger built, it's okay as long as he's a man's man. And I really don't know how to define that truthfully, but I know it's
Hmm.
something. I know it's
She
something.
she says she
Right,
knows
right.
something. Okay.
Right, yeah. So, I can't, a man,
So,
someone who's handy.
mhm.
Uh, let's see. It's physical. Like I don't discriminate as far as like the features, as far as like race wise. I'm pretty much open, truthfully speaking. So whether you have dreads or you have a fade, you got curly hair, long hair, whatever. The one thing I do ask for is like I like white teeth. You know, keep your skin clear. Things like that or
Okay.
whatever. Financially.
Wait, before you answer that financial question, now socially, I want to ask you something with the social part.
Mhm.
When you said presentable, what did you mean by that?
Someone that I can bring in front to my parents and my family. Someone
Hmm.
that I can bring around my work, my coworkers, and be representable because first impression is everything, and also what I mean by socially. Now this is another thing. I don't mind the person that I'm with having a social media. I don't mind that. But it's about the things that you do and you put on there. You need to be careful with that, So,
Like what?
someone,
Like what, for example?
for example, just like, talking to other females and, screenshotting pictures or sending, doing DMs, like all that sneaky shit. Like I don't go for
Mhm.
that. No, I don't go for
Oh,
that. And so,
okay. So, oh,
because you have some people who have different identities. One person, there's sometimes the person could be with you and have one identity, and then they could be on social media and
hmm.
have something completely different. We not,
Mm.
no,
Mm.
no, don't
Real
do that with
deal.
me. I'm not the person to do that with.
Woo.
That that just okay. I can see that kind of test the
Yeah,
nerve a little bit
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
social media. He's like, don't do that sneaky
yeah.
shit. All right,
Yeah, yeah,
financially.
you can't do that with me. I'm not the one. You got to be careful when you messing with me.
now, now we're fine. Oh, what? Oh, huh?
And then
Financial.
financially,
Now I need you to put wait. Now when you do financial, I need you to put a number on this because numbers are concrete. I need you to put a number. How much does he need to
wow.
be making a year?
You know what? I wasn't going to put a number on it because my thing, I'm a type of chick that you know, you don't have to be making, six figures, although ideally I would like you to, but I mean, I think that if you could, I just, if when times fall, if I can't, if something, I'm working, you working, and if I can't manage, my end of the bargain, I need for someone to be able to pick up while I'm leaving off, because things happen, you lose jobs, you lose X, Y, and Z, and so that's all I'm asking for, somebody to hold their own weight as well as when I hold mine, and then if I can't hold mine, then they can come in and say, "Oh, I got you," or whatever the case may be. Because we both can be struggling. I'm sorry. Because one thing about me, I'm not gonna struggle.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna wood. So like, I need you
I
come
heard
you
that
coming
knock.
with me. You need to right. Yeah, you need to have something. I'm not. You need to have some substance. Substance is important. So that's what I say. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh yeah, I want a man who making 80 figures and six." I'm not I'm not that kind of girl, I should say. And I don't know if some females be like, "Oh, girl, she lying," but I just feel for me, financially, being supportive is just like, what I have right now, I can handle everything myself. You know, However, when if there is a time where I cannot, I want my partner needs to jump in and say, "No, Nee, I got you. I can handle all of this until you get back on your feet." So that's
Mm.
all I'm asking for. I'm not saying $50 a year. I'm not saying 60, 80 or whatever. I just need for you to be able to to hold it down.
Hmm.
I'm gonna come back to something you said. Now, Demitri, brother, this is our time to shine.
Come on, man.
This is our time to shine.
Well,
Socially, physically,
all right,
financially. Tell the women what we looking
all
for.
right.
Come on,
Well,
representatives, get us.
first
That's
I
just
have
our
to give a
time.
nod to
So,
Nidia because like I appreciate that clean perspective that she gave. It was honest. Nothing seemed like it didn't seem like
it was.
it was out of place. Because sometimes you'll hear people say things and it makes you kind of look at yourself like, dang, just kind of makes you question maybe
Right.
your where you fall in the midst of those things that this other person is saying. And a lot of people would say, well, no, that's not the case. But everybody measures themselves up. If someone has the opportunity to lay out things that they're looking for like that. So nothing
Yeah.
she said was offensive or anything
But
like that. And that was, you know, I think that was cool for people who are listening because it doesn't make them feel inadequate. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and fellas, if you're approaching Lydia, don't come with the social
Uh,
media games,
you're
cause
done.
Yeah, you coming. Yeah, you coming to
You're
initiate the
done.
whole bullshit. Sorry, I
yeah,
had to say
hey,
that.
don't do it. Don't do it. She was like, don't play that
Straight
shit.
up.
I was like, brother, this is not time to
All
shine.
right.
Give it to them socially. What you're looking for,
Okay.
physically,
Um,
financially.
socially, I guess I prefer. Well, I won't say I prefer. I would just say I would be looking for a woman who's you can definitely hold a conversation. I think like Nydia said earlier, we can be around my coworkers, we could be around my parents, uh, professional situations. So, all different social situations. You can hold an intelligent conversation. Just hypothetically, if the conversation happens to get on politics or something, just something of a more serious nature, you can hold the conversation without being, extra aggressive or I don't want to say extremely one sided, but just like blind, where you're not willing to hear what other people have to say. So you just have to be able to be a person that can hold a conversation and not be offensive or be offended by things that other people say. And, maybe know when to step away from it. As opposed to letting things kind of take a turn. So um, other thing too, not overly social. Um, I personally have never had this situation, but there was a few situations I've seen where maybe a woman's kindness may have been taken for weakness, and this is New Orleans. You know, somebody's gonna try you if they see the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. They try you for less.
Mm-hmm.
So I think speaking of women, like they'll try women for less. They don't even have to be a social, extra social, smiling person. Guys will come at you for less. So um as far as that social part, that's kind of where I am with that. Now with the social media thing, I'm on social media, but I think there's a lot of fraud that's on social media. So I don't even judge by what I see on social media, but I do judge you based on what you post. Um, what type of things you will post. Uh, physically,
No. Uh oh.
Mm,
I'm no, I'm gonna be honest, but
Wait.
I'm not gonna step on toes either with this. Uh, I just physically I prefer a person who they carry themselves well. Um, you're conscious of the the way that you look when you go different places. Uh, I like a woman that can dress personally. I don't expect you to be into Louis, Gucci, or your Chanel, this and that, but I just like a woman that carries
Mm-hmm.
herself well, and a woman that smells good, man. Listen, because I have to think about odors and aromas. So
So,
you, please, please come right. Please come right. I don't want, go to give you a hug and I lean in and you got on the Elizabeth Taylor white diamonds because it's over. You be a polite exit. You understand? So yeah, but I definitely
right.
prefer a woman who carries herself well.
So,
She can dress well. Hmm.
so, so,
Hmm.
so let me ask you something with physically. Physically, now let's talk about waist size.
Oh, here we go.
Does that
Here we
matter?
go. Um,
Now I
yeah,
like
you
to
do,
step
man.
into it, man. Come on now.
You with the shits, man, for real. Uh, I mean, to
So
be
waist
honest,
size,
I don't
waist.
have a particular frame or size that I look for. Like, some people throw out the measurements, or way back they would throw out the measurements.
Okay.
That's never really been much of my
Okay.
thing. Like if I
Okay.
see you and
You
what's it?
about you about to make me go there.
Yeah, I
Okay. You about to
know.
make me go there. Okay. You about to make me go there. So okay. So I'm about to get ready. All right. So we got Lizzo. Then we got
Here we
Meg the
go, man.
Stallion.
Give
From that perspective, and not throw Sierra
I
up in
mean,
there too.
to, yeah,
Oh
you hear
no,
what
you
he's
can't
doing,
do
right?
that.
You hear this, Nitty? You
Am
hear this,
I?
right?
But,
Yeah, because even I mean, I know who I'm gonna
Yeah.
pick off
Well,
his
see,
dad.
and that's the thing. Like, I'm not a person that falls in that.
wait, what you say?
I'm
Wait.
not a person that falls in that because something
Yeah,
comes
okay.
with a lot of that stuff too. Because you could pick you a Meg the Stallion, but what kind of problems would you have choosing somebody based off of a certain physique? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we like to you know, I read this book
Mm-hmm.
called The Games We Play, right? And I think as humans, like we like to play a lot of games with ourselves. We like to say that looks don't matter and certain
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that when they really do. Like certain things just do
Well,
matter.
and you know what? I fully agree. But I'm a preface what I'm about to say by saying this. My mother's a plus size woman. So for me to get on here and, shit on a woman that's plus size, it ain't gonna happen. You know? Now, it may not be someone's
Right.
preference, and that's cool,
Yeah.
but for me, I guess, there's certain things obviously that, I have to, if I look at you, I have to be physically attracted to you, certain curvature, or even if you're a petite woman, you know, certain curvature, whatever. There's certain things that appeal to you, on certain people. So for me, if your personality and the conversation that we're having and the aura that you put off, if that vibe is right, coupled with me looking at the way you dress or whatnot, if it goes together well, I just kind of move off of that, man. To be honest, in order for me to look at you and say, well, no, that's not quite the direction I'm going in. It's got to be kind of just it got to be a little bit more than I'm willing to deal with. Whether it's teeth or whatever the case. But as far as body types, it kind of varies for me. So it's kind of hard for me to pick that one individual.
All right. So financially, how
I
much does
say
she
a
need to make?
minimum of 40, but definitely looking to, you know, increase herself professionally. Like she's not trying to stay stagnant at that. But I mean, as long as she's able to take care of herself. Like when I meet her, if she's taking care of herself, she's whether it's she has her vehicle or wherever it is she stays, her bills and things are being taken care of. That's her initiative. That's a lot of initiative being shown right there because she's taking care of what she needs to take care of. So, because I think for the most part, when you first meet a person, you know, the conversation of how much do you make a year doesn't come out of a person's mouth. You kind of go off of what you see and, maybe what the person
Right.
has. So, it's kind of, it's a bit difficult to kind of throw a number out. But I figure at the age that we are, if you figure in the range of just say 25 to 35 or whatnot, I would say a minimum of 40, looking with the potential to, continue to move up, not looking to be stagnant at that particular number. But I think, there are people in New Orleans who do pretty decent off a lot, off a less. But, I would just say for me, maybe I think 40 is a reasonable number to begin at. And then it can, just obviously go up from there. Uh,
Hmm.
now I've noticed now you've been asking a lot of
Okay.
questions, my brother. So how about yourself, man? Because I think you should kind of put yourself in
Yeah.
there too.
I'm the host.
Yeah, socially, physically,
Okay.
financially.
Okay. For me socially, I would like a woman uh, that's um, that's socially equipped that could, like Nydia said, that could like I guess like be a chameleon. Like I could take her anywhere and she could just blend in with the crowd and
Hmm.
be able to talk to people. Also, somebody I could take to my family, and they could fit in pretty well with them and talk to them because I mean like if you judge just off me, like I'm very blunt and I'm very honest, so that's just my
Right.
family. That's the way they're gonna give it to you too. Physically. I'm a pretty fit person. I would like I would
Okay.
like for my woman to be fit too. Also, though, at the same time, though, I don't mind for somebody that want to get fit. I don't mind working out with them as long as they're serious and they're at it. But I don't mind you if you not there yet. Me working with you and you trying to get there.
That makes sense.
If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, financially, I would say if a woman makes about 45,000, I'd say 45,000 a year at this point in our lives, but also, I have a lot of stuff going on, so I would like for her to how can I yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. I would like for her to contribute to that too. Not in like as far as like money goes, but as far as like support and just ingraining herself within the
Gotcha.
business.
Gotcha.
So
Hmm. Gotcha. And also,
so
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was going to mention something that Dimitri stated about conversations, about socially. And one of the things that I did not mention that I mention often when I do meet people is that I like deep rooted
Mm.
conversations. I like mental conversations, meaning that I don't like just things to be just surfacey. Feel what you feel, say what you say. Like when he stated about politics. I like to talk about politics. You want to debate? Let's go back and forth. I'm okay with that. Not being disrespectful or anything like that. But talking about conversations about that, talking about like what's going on in the world today. Someone who's not naive about those particular things, and someone who's not who's not afraid to be vocal about what's going on right now, because I think that's important to talk about it. Whereas with what's going on right now currently, or any past things, nationally, whatever it is, I'm an empath, so I tend to feel what people feel, and so I have a power to pull things out of people. I guess that's one of the
Hmm.
skills that I do have. So I don't like just degular like, oh yeah, those type of conversations, like, yeah, it was cool, I did this, I did that. I want to know a little bit more. Tell me more, tell me why. I like to hear people's
Mm,
stories. What makes you you? And once again, I think, like I said, I think that's the social worker in me. But at the same time, even if I wasn't in the position that I am in, as far as like my career, I feel like I would still want to know that, because I think background information is important to know and to understand about people. And then from there, they'll let you know, okay, you know what, I think this person may not be the one, but I think you would know what you get from a person by when they're talking, how far you want to move with them. That's all I'm gonna
Well
say.
put.
mm.
Well put.
Oh, okay. So wait, so you just said like was it your last relationship that you said you had to wear the dress and the pants?
Hmm.
Whew.
I was young.
Wait, okay, okay, come, okay, all right. It's okay, it's okay. That's over with. It's okay, it's
No,
okay.
I know, because
So
I think I know what questions you're gonna ask. I don't know, so yeah. No
okay,
bitterness. Just
so
I was I don't know.
yeah, yeah. So I was going to ask, can a woman lead in a relationship and a relationship is functional?
Can a woman can a woman lead in a relationship?
Lead in a yeah, in a relationship is
I
functional.
think so.
Hmm. I think so. And I'm saying that based off of my experience and experience with someone that I know right now. Um,
Hmm.
someone that I know is leading a relationship, and I think she's doing a, a good job. Although there are some things I feel like um the man that the man can do, or I'm not gonna say he needs to do, I'm gonna say he can do. Give him the opportunity to do this and that, rather than saying that he doesn't want to do it. So, but yeah, I think I think it's doable. And and truthfully speaking, I feel like whether leading a relationship should be, whether it's 50-50, 40-60, 80, well, I don't think 80-20, whatever, as long as it's a board that is 100 and plus. I think leading is supposed to be not just a man or a female. I think it's supposed to be both parties leading to something greater than what they already have.
Yep.
Right. Right.
Um,
But when you need somebody to make the final decision, let's just say, you guys come to the table on something. Somebody has to make the final decision and say, "Hey, this is where we're going. I think this is best for us. I think this is the best course of action."
right, but that goes in with communication too, though, and it all depends. Everything's a
Mm.
case by case. It all goes on what it is. Like, for example, with my parents, when it comes to a financial obligation, a decision that's being made, I feel like my dad would take that only because my dad is the one who makes the money. My mom is a housewife. So although
Mm.
my mom will say, okay, well, I don't think you should do this, they will listen to each other, and then the final decision will be based on whatever. And not saying that's not, it's not always like that, but just given some situation, it is like that. And then, I really think it's a case by case, whether, married or like in a relationship, there's certain things, that's a tricky question. I think we need examples from like couples or something.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Let's go. Oprah Stedman. Let's go. Then let's go. Jay Z, Beyonce.
Mm.
I think those are some
Mm.
popular ones.
Hey, and this stark contrast too.
Oprah, Stedman, Oprah. I don't know. Beyonce and Jay Z. You know
Sierra and
what?
Russell Wilson.
And most females.
Sierra
Oh shit.
Who?
and Russell Wilson.
God damn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
That
It's
is
just
a good
another one, just
one.
to throw out there.
Because I feel like she leads him.
Okay, so with Oprah and
God
Stedman,
damn.
I'm gonna go ahead and say
You're
Oprah because
not
I don't really
supposed.
know much about Stedman. I'm being honest. Okay. When it comes to Jay Z, when it comes to Jay Z and Beyonce, I feel like it's divided between them two. Um, Beyonce to me is highly independent, especially coming from her being in a group and then moving forward on her own solo, as far as like changing her own management from her dad and kind of doing her own thing. So I think that it's like 50-50. Um, Russell and Ciara. I want to be honest here and say
Mm-hmm.
I really don't pay them much attention. I think they're a beautiful couple, but I don't really know much about. To me, now Ciara is more of an celebrity than an actual artist. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know the last time she had a recording of anything. So
Mm.
I I I, I
Damn.
I don't know. And honestly, I like Beyonce, but I'm not a huge fan.
Oh.
Rihanna's my homegirl, so I'm just being. I can't. I really can't say. And when it comes to like, okay, who's and y'all might hate me for this, but let's
Okay.
say Kim Kardashian
All
and
right.
Kanye West. I think from what I see, I believe that it's down, like straight down the line. But then a part of me also thinks that Kanye makes the decisions too, as to what is, because to me, Kim is very submissive to him, very submissive, But I
Mm-hmm.
also think that it's divided because she can hold her own whether he's there or not. But because she is submissive, I do believe that she inclusive in things for him to make a final decision. Although she may already think something, I think she allows him to make the final decision based on his interest and her interest at heart together, for the family. From this, what I see, that's my
That seems
observation.
reasonable.
Okay.
So,
Now there
Demetri?
was an initial question that drove all of this, right?
Yeah, can a woman
Okay.
lead in a
I'll say
relationship
I would
and the
say yes, because
relationship
I
is
think
functional?
traditionally Even if you go like way back, like just say, to working class people, where you had just say the male was the breadwinner in the household, and the mother was a housewife. Um, the father a lot of times will bring the money home, but like I've known situations where the guy has worked, he's come home, he's taken what he needed to go drink or go do whatever it is he wanted to do, and his wife managed the money. So she made sure that the bills were paid, and kids may have gotten some clothes or whatnot, or whatever else comes out of that. So I've heard of plenty of situations like way back, in the beginning, like well, I say in the beginning, but just we're talking 50 or more years ago, or 80 years ago, where that was kind of like the standard, you know, um, where women had a different trying to think of how to put it. Uh, I don't want to say a different set of skills, but women had an understanding of how to spread out money, like how to stretch things. I put it like that. If you have a small amount of food, they're able to stretch that and make that enough for the family.
Mhm.
So I think that's not something that a man is known for being strong in, but that's something that women have been able to carry. They've been able to hold families together. Um, so I think
Mm-hmm.
that's one example of how women are able to lead. And then there are other situations where people make money but they're bad at managing. You know, I think, but it kind of goes back to what I was saying initially. When you know your strengths and your weaknesses. Like for me as a person, I guess I'm a product of my father and my grandfather, and they were spenders. Um, I don't do things to show off, but if there's something that I
Mhm.
want, I'll go ahead and get it. Now I don't put myself in a bad situation because I've spent, but I could be in a better situation if I hadn't have spent that, if that makes sense. So, like some people may focus on, well, look, I'm gonna go ahead and get a house. I'm gonna
Right.
forego, getting these clothes or these Jordans or, whatever it is you're into, because I want this house, So I think from that aspect, I've financially I have never been a strong person, but when you in a relationship with a person who's stronger than you financially, like you kind of pay attention and pick up on the things that they know. They're if you look at the moves that they've made financially, and if those moves have made sense to you and they've been successful for this person, it's like okay, well, this person's showing you, you're in a relationship with them. They're showing you how you can make what you're doing or what you make work better for you than what it does. So that's an example of a person leading. I don't feel like it has to be like a 60-40 or 50-50. The things that you're strong in and the things that I'm strong in. If I'm better at planning and you're not so good at planning, okay, I'll take
Right.
the lead on that. If I'm a person that's on time for things, that that's something that you're not really strong in, okay, well listen, I know I need to let you know an hour in advance, like, hey, such and such is about to start. We should start getting ready right now. Whatever the case is, just anything, something small, something big. Just know what you're strong in and what you're not. And this, you find a person that complements you with that, or y'all work together and try to make that your strength together.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
agree
I
with you on
agree.
that
Yeah, I like that.
because I'm a headstrong
All right.
person, and if I say something like if I say something, I'm gonna do something, then I'm gonna try to
Right.
make that happen, regardless of who or what. So sometimes I need that sense of reason just to go, hey,
Right.
listen, well, how about this? Like
Well,
give me a
can I
different
ask you a quick
alternative.
question?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
Now you said that
so I get that.
you're a headstrong person.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever made a decision? When we talking about relationship,
Hmm.
have you ever made a decision in a relationship and it didn't go the way that you thought it was going to
Right.
go, and that was something that you may have thought you had a good control over, but you made a decision that didn't go the way you thought? Okay. Now, now,
Um. Yeah.
how did you
The
handle
last
that?
one.
If you don't mind me asking, if it's not a personal thing.
Uh. So man, like you talking about like with that one, one of those
Okay.
decisions was to move in together, right? Before
Okay.
before before like engagement and everything else. I don't I don't think at the time that mentally I mean, like mentally, I knew she wasn't ready for like moving in together and stuff like that. So I think at the time, me making that decision and just being so headstrong on that, I think that kind of
Mhm.
accelerated the breakup, you know, of everything. But how I handled that, I was just like I handle everything else, man. Like,
I got
I don't know, just gotta keep going. I don't know how else to, I don't know how else to put it. Like, it's like, it's almost like because I share this. I lost my father and my grandmother within a year of each
okay.
other, and they like sent me into like a slight depression, and I came from under that. And I was like, if I could get through that, then I can get through anything, like the loss of anything.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
that's just how I deal with situations.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I
All
just
right.
keep moving
All right.
forward.
Well, I'm not gonna
Keep
stop
moving
you no more.
forward. Yeah.
So let you do your thing.
Yeah. So, so, so this question is directed to Nitty. I want you now with this question, Nitty, I want you to tell me you may not have personally dealt with this, but I want you to tell me how you discuss this with your friends.
Okay.
Okay. Does improper leadership lead to women cheating?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Improper leadership. Yeah.
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 Okay.
I mean, just the whole thing speaks for itself. If there's something, and I'm pretty sure it's like vice versa with men and women. You know, for a woman's standpoint, if there is something that I need from you in a leadership position and you're not giving to me, and then there is someone else who's doing it, and cheating. And let me go back to say this because I want to make sure I use my words correctly. Cheating is not just a physical thing. It could be a emotional thing too, or sometimes not the desire of wanting something that you don't have, like kind of like infatuation, like fantasizing about it, So like if
Hmm.
there's something that I need as far as in leadership that I'm not receiving, and there's someone else that has it, it's more so like, damn, like why
Mm.
my nigga can't be like that, you know?
I hear you.
So
Oh
it's
shit.
yeah.
Oh shit. So do you communicate? So do you guys communicate that with men though? Do y'all say,
Um,
"Hey, I need you to do this,"
I feel like
or is it more
no.
like signals?
For me, honestly, now I feel like I'm more vocal to
Hmm.
say that, to not do that, to not go looking something for someone else. I'm more confident and more vocal into telling someone what I need. Then for me, if he's not giving it to me or there's something that he's lacking, I'm okay with saying like, look, babe, I need you to step it up on X, Y, and Z, And just how I'm like that with him, I need for him to be like that with me so that that won't happen. I'm open
Hmm.
to constructive criticism.
Honest answer. I respect it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's being honest across
Yeah,
the board.
I
Like
respect that too.
I'm mature enough to now know that I need to know what it is for this person and just how this person need. He needs to know what I need. I need to know what he needs so that we won't do that anymore. That we won't have to look for anything from
Mm.
somebody else.
Okay. So, in your opinion, and we need some clarification on this. Top three needs of women in a relationship.
Top three needs. Okay, so remember I was talking about deep rooted stuff. So
Hmm.
one of the things that is important to understand about the person that you're with or the person that you want to be with is their love language. So
Okay.
if that person know your love language and you know that person love language, then I feel like there's understanding of what that person needs. However, in a relationship, you can once you learn, because a relationship, you don't learn a person in like a couple of days and be like, oh, I want to be with that person. You're always learning someone in a relationship. And so because you're always learning someone in a relationship, your love language can tweak a little bit, or it can be changed, through communication and compromising. But you know, one language, two people can't speak the same language. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like once you know your person's love language, then that person know exactly what you need. But then on top of that, woman needs a man who's honest, who's respectful, um, who is who's conscious of the things that's going on, who needs, you know, who can step out, who can step out and be, you know, presentable, like I said it before, and who can just be real, because at the end of the day, you are a representation of me. So, you know, I don't really know how
Right.
to answer your question because I could go on and on about, you know, all of this, but I hope that
Yeah.
answer it. I know I kind of went a little bit around in circles, but
Yeah, I'm about to say you should have been a lawyer. I'm about to just tell you that.
yeah, I should have been. I was supposed to go
I
to law
think you,
school.
yeah, I think you
Yeah,
missed your calling.
I
Uh-oh.
switched it up a
Yeah,
little bit, but I'm thinking about going back. But
Yeah.
continue.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So Demetri, brother, once again, this is our time to shine, man. Give us, give us top
Top
three
three
things that men
things.
need in relationships. Come on,
I
let
think
them know.
loyalty for men is that's a big thing. Because one thing I noticed about, and just me as a man, if I ever felt like loyalty that I gave was broken, it put my mind frame in a whole different place and made me hard. And it was a different type of
Mm,
anger. Because you know when guys get their feelings hurt, they go far. You know?
mm,
Yeah. So I think
Oh,
mm. Wait,
yeah,
okay,
they go far.
okay,
Yeah.
wait. You said when guys get their feelings hurt, they go far.
They sometimes
Okay,
guys
so
do and
when you
say
say go
things that
far,
they
what do
don't
you mean
need to
by that?
say, or they get aggressive. Now I'm not speaking. I'm not saying I've never put my hands on any female. Like that's not my wave. But you know, okay. So I'm trying to think of something.
Mm,
I'm gonna go way back with this. This was like when I was in college. It was this young lady we were in a relationship when high school, broke up, got back together in college, and I kind of like I came to a job pop up on. She was working at Smoothie King, and we hadn't talked that often because she was working a lot, trying to save to get a car, blah, blah, blah.
mm,
So I walk in and there's some guys, college age. I knew they looked like we were about in the same age range, but they were up there, just talking and whatever. And she just smiling from ear to ear, grinning and shit. And then when I walked in, it was like, oh shit. It was like the whole mood changed. So I was like, oh, what is this? So I was like, how you doing? Like, the shift been all right? I missed you. I didn't get to talk to you. And the guys were kind of like looking, and I'm looking at them like, now see, I'd have knocked his ass off. Now, I was young, you know, and I'm directing my stuff at the wrong person because I'm not in a relationship with any of these
mm-hmm.
guys. If I'm gonna have a conversation with somebody, I should have had it, with her or whatever. But
Right.
they tried to get out of there as quick as they could because they felt like, the tide was about to turn. But anyway, just to jump just to jump back. Guys they take things hard, and guys know they won't
Right.
tell a woman that, but they
yeah.
take things hard when if they put their heart out there and they got it smashed, or they got their feelings hurt, like they take it hard. Their closest friend might know
Yeah.
about it, to an extent, but guys take that stuff
Yeah.
hard. Um, like I have a cousin, he wound up in a difficult situation because of that was one thing I told him ever since we were young. I recognized that his vice was women. And that when he would get his feelings hurt, oh man, he would go into a real funk, man. Like he'd be outside of the girl's house to see if somebody popped up and
Right.
stuff. I'm like, man, you doing too much, bro. Yeah, like you need to go home. Like, don't ever do that.
Oh,
So,
you tripping?
I'm just saying that to say
Right.
guys getting their feelings, real heavy, whether they're willing to admit that to a woman or not. So I think loyalty is one. I think for guys, also
Mm-hmm.
I guess most guys, come off as like being highly sexual individuals, so they
I mean, I mean, women are too.
yeah,
The women try to play this
We
game
are.
like, yeah. The women be up there. Women be talking. women be talking nastier than us. Women
Well,
be
we
up
see
there
different
talking
cities.
to
Guys put
in their little
themselves out
circles.
there
Women be
more.
up there talking
They
about
talk
all
about
type
it
of stuff they be
wherever, and
doing
then
in
they
the group.
mess around and tell the wrong people too. Instead of
Yeah,
keeping some of that, keeping some things to yourself. Huh? What you say, women?
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, bro, God,
Women do
think
too.
about it, bro. Barbershop talk.
Women do
You know,
too.
barbershop
Yeah,
talk. Well,
women,
they
women,
do,
yeah. Women got
they
beauty
do, but
shop
it's
talk. Beauty shop talk.
how
Women be up
grimy does
there
it get
talking about
in
all
the
type of
beauty
stuff.
shop though? How
So
grimy?
let me tell you something. So much
But of a physical nature?
it, it gets real grimy. It gets real
Ah,
grimy. Nydia,
Hmm?
Nydia, Nydia. How grimy does it get
I'm gonna be
in the
honest
beauty
with you.
shop?
It goes down in a beauty shop, but I don't really
oh,
participate in conversations though.
There
You
you
know
go.
why? Let me tell
What?
you why.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because I'm a very
Why?
private
Why?
person. So when it comes to having those
Right.
conversations, when it comes to wrong, you could, and honestly, you could ask my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even talk to them about
Mm-hmm.
sex like talking about it. I talk to my man,
Mm-hmm.
the person that I'm in relations with. That person knows.
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't know why I've always been this way. I don't know why I don't have those like
Mm-hmm.
when my girlfriend be like, oh yeah, girl, cause he this and that. I'd be like, oh okay, that's what's up. I don't be like, yeah, girl, cause see,
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't participate in those type of conversations, but I just don't. I listen
Yeah,
and be like, oh
I
okay,
got you.
that's
That's
what's
fair with
up.
you. That's not to say it doesn't, it doesn't happen. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
I know in the barbershop, I can speak
Yeah.
on the barbershop talk. The
Yeah.
barbershop talk gets like pretty explicit,
Yes.
Now, anyway,
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead and move on from that. That's one of the other needs that
Yeah.
male,
Gets filthy.
need
Yeah.
that sexual portion.
Yeah.
And I think the other
But
part is just,
women.
like as quiet as it's kept, I think there's an emotional
Yeah.
part too. Like when a guy is going through something, like nothing is more solid than having a woman that really has like has your back. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if this is the woman that
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be with for a long time or forever, whatever the case, you decide to marry, well, which you should, if it's a relationship and y'all moving toward marriage, like having a woman that holds you down emotionally, like when you're in one of your worst places, or like if you just like you lost your job, like nobody makes you feel good like your woman does,
Mm.
you know. So so I think
Right.
those are the three things that a
I
man
agree.
like needs, whether he wants to admit that or not. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I think you do. I think you do need that emotional support
Oh
when
yeah.
things are going bad. And I think we talked. I think we talked about this last week. Because for one thing, just
Mhm.
you know, I, yeah, I'm gonna call myself a relationship veteran, but just being just certain things that you need, like just dealing with this world as a black man in particular, just dealing with this world and going
Yeah.
out in this world. You don't want to come home and start fighting too.
Yeah.
You don't want to go out in this world
Uh-huh.
and fight and come
Mm.
back home fighting. So you need somebody that's gonna uplift you.
All right.
Um, so I'm gonna ask you guys two more questions, then we're gonna get out of here. Okay, so this is very important. I want you guys to imagine this. I want you guys to
Mm.
put yourself in the shoes. We just got through talking about sex, right? So if you're not sexually, let's just say your partner is not sexually pleased with you, how would you want them
Mm.
to tell you or go about telling you that?
I don't know if that's even a I don't know if there's anywhere a person could. I don't know anybody who like. I know people welcome feedback, but that's one of those things. You know, should probably bother you to your soul if you
Hmm.
get. Regardless of how it gets laid out. You know. So yeah, it's. I don't know. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even. I wouldn't know how to touch that one.
But
Yeah.
but you can't. I mean, like you can't get better without criticism,
But
though.
Yeah.
that's true.
So
I
if
think
it
that
so if that's a
for
problem, then
I would want
communication.
that person, just to be open and honest with me, you know. But then also I want that person to I'm a visual person, so
hmm
show me what I could be doing differently to
hmm
satisfy you. Um
That's the most
yeah,
obvious
that's
answer, and I
one
don't know
thing.
why that didn't come to mind, but I agree with you 100%. Agree with you 100%. Yeah, if your angle's wrong, like this, like no, hold on, slide over a little bit. All right. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything. You know what I'm saying? To give like, especially like right when whatever's going on. I just think just being honest, like right then and there, like what's the better time? I think when you talk about it after the fact, that's what makes it kind of hurtful. Because when you, I guess, when you're in the act of intimacy, like all that extra thought process is not, it's not in it like that. You kind of, yeah, you're more focused. Yeah, I agree with you, Nadia.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mm. Okay. All right. So the last question is economics. Does this play a factor in a man's ability or inability to lead properly? Lydia?
I was eating chips
I
and you
got you.
haven't
I
just
got you. I
stopped
hop
me
in
in my
there.
tracks.
I hop. So I
Mm-hmm.
think economics does
All right.
it can play a reasonable part with that, even though that's probably more of a Nydia question. I think it definitely can because it's kind of difficult when you have, you within a certain, I guess, tax bracket, but you want to have conversations about things that are outside of your means. Because I think a lot of times people, like today, like I was talking about image, a lot of guys live outside of their means. Like I know, people who don't pay not their bill at their house, but they have
Mm-hmm.
like a little Louis Vuitton coin coin pouch, you know what I'm saying, hanging off of their belt loop. It's like, so you're really living beyond your means. Like you're making people think that you know, you have the ability to do things that you really don't. Like a friend of mine on his Instagram post, they had the meme that was going around on Instagram. It was like it was the guy on top. He was no, was it the guy on top? Yeah, the guy he was laying across his bed texting his girl, and the girl was on the frame in the bottom, and she was texting him back. And I think the meme went, the guy was saying that he couldn't wait to get his $1,200 stimulus, and the girl, the female said, "Oh, so you make under $75,000?" Did you see that one? Okay, so yeah, that was a meme. It was basically a cartoon. It was a
Mm-hmm.
cartoon of a guy.
Yeah,
The upper part was the
I
guy
did.
laying across the bed. He was texting his girl, and the girl was on the bottom. She was texting him back. He just said, I can't wait to get my $1,200." And she said, "Oh, so you make under 75?" So my boy made a comment about that. And I was just basically saying there are a lot of people that don't make $75,000, but they put off the aura that they do. So so I think if you're living beyond your means and you putting it out
Mm-hmm.
there like you make a certain type of money and then you don't, I think that can affect your ability to lead because you're not really being honest about who you are and what you're capable of.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Okay.
I believe that there's no reason to front or to fake. You know, if you don't have it like that, you don't have it like that. But yet, it becomes an issue when that person portrays, like Mitch said, has the image of portraying that they have it like that. And when you're with that person, you're like, bro, you don't got it like that. Why are you doing that? Why are you trying to show off things to people that don't really give a damn about what you got going on, And I'm one person, I'm big on saving and making sure that,
Mm-hmm.
I live within my means. So if you can't afford X, Y, and Z, why are you buying this? If you live in an apartment and you have your apartment is 950 or 1,000, and your car note is like calling your insurance together is like 1,200, but you only making
Right.
35,000. I'm like, baby, something got to give. And I hate to say it, but I do know some people like that. Oh my god, I'm just realizing it now. And I feel like you
Yep.
look stupid. I'm sorry. You look crazy. I'm not gonna be driving around in something that I know for a fact that I cannot afford. Okay, I know that I'm not going to splurge on something when it costs the same price of 2 or 3 bills in this house. Now, is a difference between treating yourself, but then actually, showing off for people that doesn't really care about whatever the case may be. So I feel like I agree. I feel like sometimes economics could damper leadership. You know, especially when because you're not holding your own if you're doing that. You're not if you do that, you're not holding your own. You're not holding a person down. So you're not holding a household down. You know, the stuff that you doing inside the house is to suppress others. It's not for you. It's not for self. You know, so yeah, it could because that's not showing leadership. That's not showing integrity. That's not being honest. You're not honest with yourself and the people that you know that you're with. You're not showing a
Right.
good example. So absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
it could affect that.
Okay. So we about to get out of here. Are you guys do you guys have anything you want to promote? Like y'all got anything else going on?
Um,
Um,
I do on every third Wednesday of the month. I'll be doing Wellness Wednesdays with other mental health professionals and therapists.
mhm.
Also, I'm
Where can they
they
find
can
that at?
find
Where can
that
they
at on my
get
Instagram page. It's Network with Me. I am also, like I said, I'm a social worker and I'm a life coach. So I know right now during this time, a lot of us having some anxiety and a lot of stressors that's going on. So if you need of any type of therapeutic support, you can contact me on there, Network with Me. That's on Instagram. And my email is nvanessah@gmail.com.
My cousin, well, he has a clothing line.
for Demitri?
It's if you can find him on Instagram, it's Nola Love. Right now he has like hoodies and he does tees. But he has like a real interesting concept. Like his styles are kind of nostalgic to kind of more retro New Orleans back when we used to have Eckers and stuff like that. But it has his brand Nola Love and it has like the Eckers font in the background. He also has one with like the old Popeyes logo from when we were young and it has his brand on the inside, but it's Nola Love. That's at NOLALUV, and that's on Instagram. His name is Javon, so you can check him out.
Cool.
Okay. And of course, you guys know I got my dad's book on Kindle. It's his autobiography. I wrote that myself. I want you guys to check that out. It's called I Was a Soldier, George. That's the title of the book. Also, my documentary, New Orleans Politics, will be on Amazon Prime Friday, bearing any types of
Can't wait to see it.
BS. But
Okay, can't wait to
but
see
it
it,
should be on
man.
there Friday uh, at 12 a.m.
Cool.
Thank you. And you guys leave with a positive note. Let's go with a positive note. I've been picking with Nidia all night, so I'm gonna continue to pick on her. Nidia, leave us with a positive note.
Um, about just anything about relationships or
Just about anything. Just a positive. Anything
um,
positive.
positivity.
Positivity.
The one thing that I want to, tell people, men and women, is, a lot of us are we want to love and we want to receive love. And so I just want people to know and to understand that your time is coming. Do not rush into anything. Do not feel like you're obligated to please anyone. Just focus on yourself and love yourself, because the one person is going to give you everything that you need and deserve is yourself. And so, yeah.
I think the positive word I like to leave on, out
Brother
in New
Demetri, what you
Orleans and
got?
just across the United States. Period. I see a lot of situations in like the black community, more so with black males, young black males, and I think there's like this kind of like little quiet battle, some places not so quiet between like the younger generation. I guess they call them millennials and the OGs. So a lot of times there's knowledge that an older generation can bring to the table. And I think the younger generation is not really receptive. They're not really receptive to like taking it in. But I learned some of the best information that I ever got from the older
Mm,
generation, whether they were 20 or 30 years or 40 years older than me. But just, take the time and listen to like what some of the older folks have to say. They'll give you some lessons because they've been through things that you haven't seen. So instead of y'all battling it out so much, take the time and listen and learn some of those things. And then you can kind of make sense of the information yourself once they've given it to you. But don't look at it as, a control thing, or, it's always going to be a difference in generations. But take that knowledge that people ahead of you have to offer. It might save you some of those falls that you might make in life if you try to do it on your own.
Yeah, my positive. Thank you for that. And my positive word would be, speaking of battling the way things are going with this pandemic. From what I see, and just being a student of history, I want black men in particular to be more aware in the protection of our families and the protection of our women, because of the way I see things
Mm-hmm.
going right now. So I want you guys to be more aware of that. I've been beating the drum on that for a while. So please, please take care of your family. I want to thank my host tonight. Thank you both for joining me. And this is your host
Night.
signing off saying, hey, get the game or the game.